There exists a certain type of creature in this world, spotted by a few, yet never officially recognized. We classify these beings under the term Unidentified Mysterious Animal, UMA. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA series. In this episode, we introduce a strange and eerie creature from Ohio, USA, the Frogman. Also known as the Loveland Frogman, this creature is named after the city of Loveland, where all reported sightings have occurred. According to descriptions, it is a humanoid entity with the head and body structure of a frog, but is capable of walking upright like a human. It has wrinkled, hairless skin and stands around 4 feet tall, roughly the height of a 7- or 8-year-old child. The earliest recorded sighting of this creature dates back to the 1950s. On an early morning in May 1955, at around 3:30 a.m., an unidentified businessman was driving along a secluded road near the Little Miami River in Loveland. As he passed a bridge, he spotted 3 reptilian humanoid creatures gathered by the roadside. They were described as reptilian-like, due to their distinct differences from human anatomy. The businessman reported that these beings stood between 3 and 4 feet tall, with gray, leathery skin covering their bodies. Their hands and feet were slightly webbed, and their frog-like heads had no hair but were deeply wrinkled. Driven by curiosity, the man stopped his car and hid at a distance to observe them. He noticed that the 3 creatures appeared to be engaged in conversation. Just as he was about to leave quietly, one of the creatures suddenly raised a cylindrical object, similar to a magic wand, above its head. The object's tip emitted a burst of sparks, scaring the businessman into fleeing immediately. There are 2 alternate versions of this story. In one version, the businessman did not stop his car after spotting the creatures, but instead drove away immediately. In another account, the incident occurred under the bridge. The businessman parked his car and honked the horn, angering the creatures. One of them allegedly jumped onto his hood and let out a hoarse, furious roar, causing the man to faint from fear. Due to the passage of time, the truth of these events remains uncertain. However, the sightings did not stop there. 17 years later, in 1972, 2 more sightings occurred within the same month. The first took place around 1 a.m. on March 3rd. A Loveland police officer named Ray Shockey was driving along Riverside Drive toward Loveland when a mysterious creature suddenly crossed the road right in front of his patrol car. Because the road was icy, Shockey had been driving slowly and cautiously, which allowed him to illuminate the creature fully with his headlights. According to his description, the creature had leathery skin like a lizard, stood 3 to 4 feet tall, and weighed approximately 50 to 75 pounds. Though how he estimated the weight remains unknown. Shockey reported that the creature squatted down like a frog and stared directly at him. After the Pokemon Go incident in 2016, Officer Mark Matthews, the same man who allegedly shot the creature decades ago, contacted a journalist and stated that what he had actually seen back then was a large lizard missing its tail, possibly an escaped pet from a nearby home. The species he referred to was the green iguana, iguana, a large arboreal lizard commonly kept as a pet. Adult green iguanas can grow up to 2 meters, over 6 feet, in length and live for more than 10 years. In terms of plausibility, the green iguana is indeed one of the most popular pet lizards. However, this explanation raises a crucial question. Why did Matthews choose to change his story more than 40 years later? Moreover, based on photographs provided by Jacobs, it is difficult to associate the creature described in the original sightings with a green iguana. Setting aside the decades-old sightings, the 2016 waterborne frogman remains the most intriguing case. During research, the author found that many sources classify these incidents as hoaxes. This assumption likely stems from a statement on Wikipedia's last section, which claims that these sightings were caused by a local high school student dressed in a homemade frog costume. However, this explanation conflates 2 completely different incidents. The high school prank occurred in 2020 and was a staged act, whereas the 2016 sighting has fundamental differences and remains unexplained. To this day, there is no definitive evidence to prove that the Loveland Frogman does not exist. Speculations about the creature continue to spark debate. Some still believe Matthews' claim that it was merely a green iguana, while others associate the Frogman with another cryptid. About 100 miles down the Ohio River from Loveland, in Canop Creek, Kentucky, a bizarre sighting occurred in 1975. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a 15-foot-long giant lizard known as the Milton lizard. Eyewitnesses described the creature as having large, frog-like eyes and a grayish-white area under its mouth. Its body was covered in black and white stripes and small spots. Most of these sightings were concentrated in the months of July and August. However, this theory lacks credibility, as the Milton lizard was never seen again after 1975. Another hypothesis suggests that the Frogman could have been a mangy coyote or another mammal suffering from severe skin disease. This explanation is common in cryptid speculation. According to a 1978 distribution report, coyotes in North America were known to inhabit southwestern Ohio, making it possible that the so-called Frogman sightings were simply cases of mammals with alopecia due to disease. In the dim lighting of nighttime encounters, these sick animals could have appeared bizarre or unrecognizable, leading to misinterpretations. Additionally, some believe that the name Frogman may have been influenced by the 1954 horror movie Creature from the Black Lagoon. The film featured a humanoid amphibian with webbed hands and a fish-like appearance, eerily similar to descriptions of the Loveland Frogman. Then, the creature stood up, climbed over the guardrail, and leaped into the river. After the incident, Shockey immediately called another police officer, Mark Matthews, to report what he had just witnessed. Not long after, on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, Matthews also encountered the strange creature. That day, while driving along Kemper Road near the Little Miami River, Matthews suddenly spotted what appeared to be an animal carcass lying in the middle of the icy road. As he stepped out of his vehicle to move it off the road, the creature suddenly sprang to life, crouching in a defensive posture. Startled by the unexpected movement, Matthews instinctively drew his gun and fired a shot at the creature. From this point, the accounts of the event diverge. One version states that after being shot, the creature hobbled away, climbed over the guardrail, and disappeared into the river. Another version claims that the creature was fatally shot on the spot, and Matthews retrieved its body, later showing it to Shockey. This version also suggests that the body confirmed the strange being sighted 2 weeks earlier. Considering that Shockey had previously estimated the creature's weight in his report, the second version, where Matthews recovered the body, seems more plausible. The final recorded sighting took place decades later, on August 3, 2016. That evening, Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend were playing Pokemon Go near Madeira Road. The game, based on augmented reality, AR technology, requires players to physically move around in real-world locations to discover and capture virtual creatures. As they approached Isabella Lake, they unexpectedly stumbled upon a creature that couldn't simply be stored in a virtual Pokeball. It was real. Jacobs described it as a gigantic frog. He claimed that the frog stood about 4 feet tall and walked on its hind legs. To support his claim, he provided both photos and a video taken during the sighting. Now, let's enhance the brightness and contrast of the footage and play it in slow motion. Pay close attention. Although the lighting conditions were poor at the time of recording, we can still make out a humanoid figure standing in the water. Moreover, by analyzing the light reflection in its eyes, we can determine that it was certainly not a human being. As soon as the video and photos were reported, they sparked widespread skepticism. In response, Jacobs swore an oath, insisting that what he had seen was real. Could this bizarre humanoid frog hybrid truly exist? Let's take a closer look at the sightings over the years. The 1955 sighting remains the most ambiguous. During research, the author discovered several conflicting accounts. The identity of the eyewitness is uncertain. Some claim he was a businessman, while others say he was a traveler or even a missionary. Additionally, there are discrepancies regarding the number of creatures seen. Most versions mention 3 unidentified beings on the bridge, while others claim there were 4. The exact time and location of the incident also vary between sources. With no physical evidence left behind, the credibility of this sighting is highly questionable. The 1972 sightings, however, had follow-up developments. I believe that the eyewitnesses were old enough to have sufficient cognitive ability to distinguish the characteristics of canines. Moreover, the description of the creature standing upright is not explained in this theory. The final hypothesis leans toward mythology. As early as the late 17th century, when French explorers arrived in the Miami region and along the coast, they received warnings from the local Miami people about a river monster called the Shauna hawk. This creature was said to have both frog-like and human characteristics, lacking a nose and body hair. Its skin was dark, rough, and covered in mucus. According to legend, these creatures had long been the guardians of the riverbanks, driving away intruders. The locals believed they were immortal, capable of sinking into the cool waters of the Miami River to heal when injured. However, the problem with this claim lies in its antiquity. At that time, human understanding of the world was still quite limited. Regarding the UFO and alien theories, the author does not reiterate them in detail here, as nearly all reports of humanoid unknown creatures tend to attract such speculation. In conclusion, the author believes that the likelihood of this creature actually existing is quite low. First, if the eyewitness descriptions only referred to a giant frog, its existence might be more plausible, similar to the previously mentioned Changtan Lake monster. However, the key point lies in the humanoid description and the claim that it could stand upright. Has anyone noticed that in all reported sightings, witnesses only mention seeing a frogman, yet none describe it exhibiting the typical leaping motion of a frog? Frogs are amphibians, and for one to evolve into a fully upright walking creature, it would require an extensive evolutionary process. More importantly, such an evolution would have to serve the purpose of adapting to terrestrial life. Yet, every reported sighting is connected to riverbanks, making it reasonable to rule out the possibility of a new amphibian species from the Anura order. Additionally, in the US, mysterious creatures seem to have become a crucial part of local tourism industries. Given the vague descriptions from earlier sightings, I believe it is possible that this creature was entirely fabricated to add an air of mystery to certain cities or regions. As for the most bizarre sighting in 2016, if we look closely, the reflection on the water surface suggests that the creature's eyes were naturally glowing rather than merely reflecting a flashlight. This raises the possibility that the event was an elaborate hoax. However, the author does not make an absolute conclusion, especially considering that the eyewitness swore an oath about what they had seen. Regardless of the truth, the frogman has already become a widely popular urban legend in the area. Perhaps its actual existence no longer matters. After all, the unknown will always outweigh the known. That is precisely the allure of unidentified mysterious animals.